shine, and it's a brand new day with Mo and News. It's time to have your say. She's got the scoop, the stories, all the latest trends. Mo's got the news, let's hear it. My dear friends, from politics to showbiz, no story's too small. Mo covers it all. She's got the inside call, her voice so smooth, like honey in the summer sun. With Mo on the mic, you know the news is always fun. Mornings with Mo, the best newsy news in the world. With her style so classic and her stories unfurled, from morning till night, she's got us in the know. Turn on your radio, let Mo's newsy news flow.
Hello, everyone. It is the 27th. It is Memorial Day. So, starting with thank yous to everyone who served and people that gave all, in the service to our country. It's just very, I get more and more patriotic, and I think more and more very thoughtful on these days as I get older. Although I'm not getting older, so it's a dichotomy. Uh, Good morning, Phoenix and Wolfram. Thank you for doing the mod stuff. Robert James, I am looking at possibly starting at 8, but I need to run that by everyone and make sure that my timing can actually work. Squid Pro Quo, awesome doing the Murph with a 14-pound vest, a 1-mile run, 100 pulling or jumping pull-ups or ring rows, 200 push-ups, 300 squats, and another 1-mile run. Do not pass out. Try to stay hydrated. And look, I'd still be on pull-up number 1 18 years later. So, Jude, good morning. Phoenix, welcome again. Captain Kern, thank you, and reminding us what this day is all about. Let's see here. Scandinavian folktales, sagas, and fairy tales, welcome. And Captain Kern, well, what a great accomplishment to have your music up. So I'll have to look at that later. I was basically just making sure no one tried to eat, Rice Krispie treats for breakfast. Good morning, Allie and everyone. So our first story today, I don't watch General Hospital, but apparently an actor, Johnny Water, 37, was shot downtown LA during an attempted catalytic converter theft. So I'm guessing that's somewhere involved in cars, but y'all know my carology is not there. So General Hospital actor Johnny Water was shot and killed in Los Angeles early Saturday morning when he confronted a trio of masked thieves attempting to steal a pricey part from his car. Johnny, 37, was fatally shot when he and a colleague saw 3 suspects allegedly attempting to swipe a catalytic converter from his car at about 3:30 a.m. downtown. And TMZ is reporting this, citing his mother and the police. The grieving mother, Scarlett Wachter. It's like Factor, but with a W. So I don't mean any disrespect by not saying it correctly. I have no idea what those do. I am sure something vital that I should know. His mother also told KABC that he was walking from his job at a rooftop bar to his car and at first thought it was being towed and tried to speak to one of the robbers. The thief, who was wearing a mask, looked up and shot him. So not even, anything. I think the problem that a lot of states and a lot of localities are going to have to face is that you've made things not crimes anymore. You have allowed people to get away with it, so they're emboldened, and unfortunately, it's going to be not so great. Law enforcement uh, also confirmed to the Los Angeles Times that he confronted the suspects before he was shot and was later pronounced dead at the hospital. So, well, I mean, mostly because mostly because it's not fortified with at least some chocolate milk. But I feel so sorry for this mother who lost her son. No suspects have been found. He was best known for playing Brando Corbin in 164 episodes of the long-running soap opera General Hospital between 2020 and 2022. He was later written off the show, but as a coma or like or was it his weird ex-twin cousin brother who came in? He also appeared in the supernatural drama show Sabrina and Army Wives. Okay, no. Uh, the hospital family is heartbroken to hear of Johnny Wachter's untimely passing. He was truly one of a kind and a pleasure to work with each and every day. The ABC show wrote on X, "Our thoughts and prayers go out to his loved ones during this difficult time." Now, I guess my only 2 cents is that, you have made crimes have no consequences whatsoever, that a man, with other people going up to the car, they shoot someone with impunity. I mean, it's like the Kia boys, and you're suing the car companies, not the people that are going out. It I just will not understand. I wish moms and dads would all get together and put someone who has common sense in some of these local elections. Remember that regardless of the presidential elections, your local elections are going to be the people that are going to have the most impact on your life. So try to stay, you know, up ahead of that. And unfortunately, this gentleman lost his life because people wanted to game the system. Impunity? Impunity. Okay, you win. Good morning, everyone. So, unfortunately, that is the first story, and it was trending on a lot of things. Not quite sure. I, I have never watched General Hospital, but the fact that someone lost his life for something as dumb as a catalytic converter, which I'm not even sure what it does, sucks. In other news, oh, thank you, Fraud at Wrangler, for the $10. Good morning, ma'am. Just wanted to let everyone knows we'll be using my backup channel for a week or so. Apparently, some hillbilly frauditors got feeling hurt for being called inbred. Well, it is the season of family reunions. If you don't find your family member, you might find your next, spouse there. So, hey, it's a little too hill truck for home right now. I am just kidding, y'all. Uh, In other news, and when I saw this headline, I had no idea, but we will read about this together because unfortunately, it seems like a bear mauled a teen in an Arizona cabin. I'm not gonna leave it on the really gross. Oh, Tammy, thank you. So it cleans toxins from the exhaust and gases. Okay. I knew it had to do something with probably not the flux capacitor. Was like, "Wait a minute, we could go back to the past? I'm buying all of my groceries from there. You have no idea." Unfortunately, an Arizona teen did not have a great vacation. A black bear waltzed into an Arizona cabin Thursday and mauled a 15-year-old boy watching TV before the teen's brave family chased the brown bear off, or the black bear. Brigham Hawkins, who suffers from a rare neurological disorder, was watching television after a long day of fishing in Alpine when the bear walked through the open front door of his cabin. The black bear took several swipes at the boy, sparking a furious effort by his loved ones who were in a nearby cabin to fend off the beast after they heard the boy screaming, according to reports. Good Lord. He hadn't realized what it was because it came in from behind. It reached over and like swiped at his face twice, got him on the nose and cheek, then went ahead and got his forehead and the top of his head. His mother, Carol Hawkins, told AZ Family. Brigham's older brother, Parker, heard the commotion and rushed to his sibling. At first, it thought it was a giant dog, but he realized it was a bear when it started pursuing him, his mother told 12 News. Okay, this is Arizona. I'm sure you guys are close enough to Texas. Were you all not strapped for bear? Pun unintended and intended. But good on this brother. Parker ran up to the porch and went into the other cabin to get away from the bear, she recalled, and the bear just paced back and forward on our porch. Meanwhile, Brigham's father sprinted to help his son in the cabin as he suffered injuries from the brazen attack, Carol Hawkins said. He made it safely and called 911. Authorities reached the scene and tracked down the 3-year-old bear about 120 feet from the cabin where it was, well, sent to meet the bears in heaven. Although, seriously, I swear to goodness, if I am this kid, I'm getting a bearskin rug. Just that is it. That is how we deal with our setbacks with woodland creatures. Uh, Quote, it was thanks to the quick reaction by his brother and his family that they were able to distract the bear from what could have easily been a matter of seconds and turned into a real tragedy. No, I think the tragedy is still here if the bear didn't get him. I mean, the bear still wandered into your home and took a couple swipes at you when you were watching, probably Yogi Bear. Just no. People that don't understand wildlife or Arizona think that, it's just this is normal bear behavior and we should be understanding. Oh, Hawkins said her family was upset to hear that the bear was killed, but knew it had to be done. Well, yes, absolutely. This is a bear that no longer fears humans, will have more interactions with humans, and then lead to more terrifying things like this. If I am this kid, I am going to school next year with like a bear vest. I am doing the whole Mr. Burns thing. I'm like, see my vest, see my vest. It's real gorilla chest. I'm walking around with bear slippers. I mean, I have created the this is probably why woodland creatures don't like me. Somewhere back in the years, somewhere back in my past lives, I was Mr. Burns. Uh, this is the 16th time a bear has attacked someone in the Copper State since 2000, and since 1990, with two of those being fatal, according to reports. Brigham suffered gashes to his face and arms and is expected to make a full recovery. We are extremely blessed and feel that someone was definitely watching over him because he's very small and has a lot of medical issues, and there was nothing he could have done to chase off this bear or fight this bear, Hawkins told the station. He's protected. Well, I'm glad that, you know, I don't ever want animals to lose their lives, but there's a big difference with how you have to treat animals who are no longer afraid of humans, either because there are, you know, they will interact more often with humans, and that just increases the amount of deadly, encounters we can have. Good morning, audio coffee and Squab Bob. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, y'all, I am just saying, I have watched that bear, uh, oh gosh, what is it? The bear documentary where the bear man who loves bears ends up getting loved by a bear to death at the end. No, wild animals need to stay out away from me. In more international news, unfortunately, and while we're, keeping people in our thoughts and prayers, apparently Papua New Guinea experienced a landslide that buried more than 2,000 people. And it looks like they are working hard to try to save people that got either run over or things like that. Papua New Guinea's massive landslide 3 days ago buried more than 2,000 people, the government said on Monday, as treacherous terrain imperiled or impeded aid and lowered hopes of finding survivors. The National Disaster Center gave the new number in the letter to the UN, which has put the possible deaths at more than 670. Defense Minister Billy Joseph said 4,000 people had been living in the six remote and mountainous villages. Uh, oh, for the love of goodness, I always do this. Mayap Muktala area in Inga province, where the landslide occurred in the early hours of Friday while most people were asleep. Possibly. More than 500 houses were buried beneath the debris that was almost 2 stories high. Rescuers heard screams from beneath the earth. Quote, I have 18 of my family members being buried under debris and soil that I'm standing on, and more family members in village that I cannot count. A resident, Yvette Kambu, told Reuters, I cannot retrieve the bodies, so I'm standing here helplessly. More than 72 hours after the landslide, residents were still using spades, sticks, and bare hands to try to find and or try to shift debris. Only 5 bodies have been found, according to local provincial authorities. So this is a terrible thing. I hope that they were able to get as many people out. I hope that countries that maybe are around there that can help with more specialized dogs and things like that will be able to help them, because quite frankly, this is just such a terrible loss of life, and not everywhere has all of the resources. So hopefully there's some places that can help. Look, don't look at me. I have no idea how to help with anything. Did the bear get kissed and cause the landslide? No, I don't know if there are bears in Guam or Papua New Guinea. I always get Papua New Guinea and Guam mixed up, and I know they're not the same place. Uh, it looks like it was 2 stories, um, Jeffrey Jeffries. So I guess they just kind of used like the 2 stories, but I don't know what the standard story is. In New Oh, very good. Chris Mullen says that Australia has offered to help. So I know Australia has a lot of resources compared to, New Guinea. Eris is good. All you guys are teaching me the news. It's learn the news with Mo. Where is Guam? It could be anywhere, and it's also not Papua New Guinea. Local American doesn't know geography in the news. In Where in the Hell was David Lee Roth? And we need to make sure that Twisted Sister was nowhere near this place. What in the 80s hairband is this? And what is wrong with him other than his hair? Without any warning, a man stabbed 3 girls at a movie amid a bloody crime spree, authorities said. For the love of all that is holy. Oh, thank you guys. I'm still serious about David Lee Roth. I need to know where you were. It appears that the same man is linked to a series of crimes touching at least 4 towns in 2 states. The suspect went as far as to stab 4 young girls in an unprovoked attack at a movie theater. Later, he stabbed 2 more people at a McDonald's, authorities say, and the officers did not initially identify the man. The earliest allegation was down in the town of Deep River, Connecticut, at the southern part of the state. Troopers said that they responded on Saturday at approximately 3:36 p.m. to a report of a disturbance. Quote, a deceased individual was found at this location. The identity of the decedent has not been confirmed, and the investigation remains active and ongoing, they wrote. Other crimes happening along or the other crimes happened along the eastern part of Massachusetts in a matter of hours. Police officer in the town of Braintree, Massachusetts, which is 13 miles south of Boston, said that a suspect came into a local AMC movie theater at approximately 6 p.m. He proceeded past the ticket checkout counter, entered one of the theaters without paying. Inside that theater, he encountered four young females without saying anything or without any warning. He suddenly attacked and stabbed the four young females. The attack appeared unprovoked. The girls were ages 9 to 17 and they sustained non life threatening injuries. Look, sir, I don't care where whoever you are, but you have now destroyed those girls' sense of safety. And if I were the judge, I would hand you on over to their family members and even them. And I'd be like, you've got 5 minutes on the Epstein video surveillance police videos, I'd be done with whatever I was doing in 5 minutes. This is again why I will never be charged to be a judge because I have said these things and I would be okay with these things. Uh, as for the suspect, he ran out of the theater and left in a vehicle, officer said. Investigators then used surveillance footage to track him and later put out a broadcast to law enforcement. Shortly after the broadcast, a vehicle matching the description was reportedly involved in a similar assault in Plymouth, officers wrote. Massachusetts State Police said they received 911 calls at approximately 7:04 p.m. on Saturday about a stabbing inside a McDonald's fast food location in Plymouth. A 21-year-old woman and a 29-year-old man sustained. Damn it, Daryl Brooks, bring this man to my thing because right to the front of the classroom because he's the reason that 90% of us will say substained at some point this week. He needs another life sentence for making us all look dumb. Sustained apparent stab wounds and were taken to the local hospital for non-life-threatening injuries, authorities said. A description of the suspect's vehicle was given, which helped state troopers locate the vehicle operating on a public way in Sandwich, the state police wrote. Troopers attempted to pull the vehicle over, but it failed to stop. Let's see here. The suspect crashed the vehicle and was taken into custody shortly thereafter by Sandwich and state police. He is currently being treated at an area hospital. Preliminary investigation suggests there is a likely connection to the earlier incident at the movie theater in Braintree, resulting in non threatening injuries for the four girls. Sources suggested the suspect in the Massachusetts incident is linked to the Connecticut murder investigation, according to Boston CBS affiliate WBZ. So hopefully, those girls and everyone who got attacked is getting treatment, and this man can explain himself. The sad and terrifying and dauntless thing I think is that sometimes evil doesn't need and doesn't have a reason. It's just evil. And regardless of the instrumentality, if he used a knife or a force multiplier, it's evil's just gonna evil. We all wanna know why and what for and how, but sometimes the sad and terrifying truth is that evil doesn't need a reason, and it just is, and unfortunately, not all evil can be, you know, I guess, fixed by fixing ailments in people's lives. Some people are just choose wrong. They just choose wrong. We all know that one person, even from childhood, that has never even lived, got his passport stamped, or even sent a postcard to the town of Do Right. I mean, we all know those people. There are people that will just choose bad, and I wish that wasn't the truth, But oh, in well, we're sort of locking people up or being tough on crime, Thai style. Lock them up, not only a theme of 2016, but apparently the way that this Thai town plans to deal with marauding monkeys, launches a plan to lock them up and send them away. A Thai town run ragged by its ever-growing population of marauding wild monkeys launched an offensive against the simian raiders on Friday using trickery and ripe tropical fruit. Ban assault monkeys. I mean, at least bring, a 72-hour hold if you're going to buy an assault monkey. What the wait. Oh. Several high-profile cases of monkey-human conflict recently convinced authorities that they never wanted to be part of a Mark Wahlberg, Planet of the Apes remake. Good morning, Raisa Murphy. If all goes well, most will end up behind bars before starting a new life elsewhere. The first stage of the plan, instituted Friday, is bait cages with the animal's favorite food, then wait for hunger to get the better of natural caution. There was earlier success for catchers on one street with three of the macaques falling for the ruse and ended up trapped because they fancied a taste of rambutan fruit. The cages had been placed on the street earlier in the week, so the monkeys got used to them and found them less threatening. There are thought to be around 2,500 monkeys running around the town. The capture of the unlucky trio and about 30 others trapped in other parts of towns slightly pared down that total. Well, I mean, yes, also, we do need a we need all video of this, although I will say some of those videos are scary. I don't know if they're in this particular town where, like, a monkey will bring off or drag, just a toddler off. I I do not know. Maybe they had a bunch of tourists and they started feeding them. Let's see here. The effort will go on for 5 days this month, then will likely be repeated. Some of the monkeys will be let free to maintain Lupri's image of Thailand's monkey town. Well, I mean, you can't make it monkey town and they get pissed off when the monkeys are being monkeys. I mean, maybe you need to make it like semi populated. As long as it ends with Charlton Heston and not the 18 other movies that I watched because the '70s were crazy. My favorite movie has to be when I think Dr. Zaius and the other look, it was a or it was a sequel to Planet of the Apes, and somehow they just went back into the future, got to the '70s, and they were the only talking apes there. Just the amount we do need to ask. Uh, but no one is expecting it to be easy. With the monkey's intelligence, if some of them go into a cage and are caught, the others outside will enter the cage to get food because they've already learned that's what happened to their friends. Wait a minute, monkeys might be smarter than us. The Parapor said Thailand's Department of National Parks, Wildlife, and Plants Conservation. The roaming monkeys have long been a symbol of the town, 140 kilometers north of Bangkok, and they are a major tourist draw. But they have become increasingly aggressive, however, with several videos of them snatching food from residents and causing injuries being widely shared online. One auto part shop now trades from behind barbed wire. The owners erected it at the time of the coronavirus pandemic, but it also kept out light-fingered primates because apparently they've wait a minute. The monkeys were stealing like catalytic converters too? Were they also stealing nuts, bolts, and that little wire that I never know why I need it, but it apparently cost $113 to get fixed? I have no idea. When there are a lot of monkeys around, customers are afraid of buying goods at the shops, only our regulars aren't frightened. The town's mayor agrees that the monkeys, while bringing in visitors, have also been bad for trade, with shops and malls being seeing a drop in income and even people's homes damaged. Uh, he said it's almost like an abandoned town. After our operation is over, the conservation people said, I will do a big cleaning across the town, painting all the buildings to regain the faith of the people. This might seem like grim times for the monkeys, but there's a plan to give them a fresh start. On Friday, authorities began sedating them to carry out health checks before cleaning and sterilizing them, inking them with tattoos so they can be identified to keep an accurate record. After that, they transferred them to a series of huge holding pens just outside the town center while looking for a permanent home. Well, wait a minute. Will they fight the you know, pythons that are in Florida? Because I think we've figured out a Simpsons level replacement theory plan. We'll just send those monkeys to Florida to help them get rid of the pythons, and then we'll have to send the pythons to somewhere else. This doesn't seem like it's going to be a great plan, especially when all the monkeys are making fun of the three of them that were dumb enough to go into the cage. I don't know how to be smarter than, these thieving, primates, but it's a bold plan. Hopefully it works for them so they no longer have, are plagued by crime involving, well, monkeys. In uh well, I mean, it doesn't seem like something I'd want to talk about. I know Squad Bob. I It's like when Florida You're out of your mind. TikTok user on trial for shooting wife lashes out over teen prawn videos allegation. Well, I mean, it's never good when they bring your hub activity into the trial. But let's see. Jurors on Friday took up deliberations in the murder case against popular TikTok user? Is he a TikTok, like, he does TikToks or he just watches TikToks? Because I am confused. And welcome, Brenda, who shot and killed his estranged wife and her friend. Their work is ongoing as they mulled over the defendant Ali Jinkid Aluban's own admission that he unalived Anna Albulanan, 28, and Rayburn Cardeas Barron, 29. The defense contends that he legitimately lost control. As part of the trial, jurors saw him lash out at prosecutors during his days long testimony. Quote, what did you just say? He said, according to a San Diego ABC affiliate, KGTV. Quote, that's what you were researching, correct? The prosecutor said. He said, say it again. Teen corn videos, the prosecutor said. You're out of your mind. Uh, show me the teen esh you just said. You want to paint me as some kind of person that deserves Lord Chippy? Show me what you just said. I've never seen that in Discovery. I've been incarcerated 3 years. You've never showed that to my team. Where did you get that? And the prosecutor comes back with those darn one-liners like, it's in your phone. It's on the Celebrate data, which may or may not be accurate. We are learning Schrodinger's accuracy in Karen Reed's trial because, but yeah, it's kind of, he's like, show it. And she's like, sir, I will not. Oh, for the love of goodness. Uh, Ali Aluban was ever animated back in his jailhouse interview with local Fox affiliate KSWB after the October 2021 double murder. At the time, he sobbed and sometimes slammed his fist onto the jail counter. Aliban admitted to spying on his wife in the days before she died by sneaking into the apartment and installing an app on their 5-year-old daughter's iPad so he could listen to what's happening inside the house. Yeah, I mean, no, no. I mean, it this seems perfectly normal. I mean, who among us hasn't snuck into our ex's house, put spyware on our child's lab or little tablet to catch our sir, I'm gonna need you to and then she's apparently he caught her with a man. There's a man, and guess what I hear? I like an effing nightmare R&B music. Not all R&B music is that bad. Not all, just a little bit. He said he was screaming on the ride over, "Don't engage in the horizontal tango, my wife." When he got home and found his wife and Baron on the couch kissing, he could not say what happened in the next few moments, but at the trial, he admitted to unaliving both of them. His mother, Dalawara, testified Monday that he called her and admitted murdering his estranged wife and her friend, and that he sent her pictures of the corpses. Prosecutors said by the time of the murders, Anna Albalan had previously called it quit with with the physically abusive defendant. Quote, "I want you out of my life once and for all," she texted the defendant hours before the murders, according to City News Service. Y'all, I have not been paying attention. I didn't even know this was a case, but when you are getting away from someone who is controlling and abusive, these are the most dangerous times if you're trying to get out. If he look, I don't know this guy. He seems a whole lot, well, man bun ponytail for me. But be safe as you take that step. I mean, it does seem like it's at least a second degree, uh, because it seems like a crime of passion, but it also could be first degree because he set up that spyware, and depending on how the prosecution puts that, he was hoping to still control her and, you know, premeditated that if she crossed some sort of lines that he put in his head, that she was basically signing her own warrant on, you know, unaliving. So either way, I think he's still gonna do time. I don't know this gentleman. I am not a lawyer, but he doesn't seem as with that questioning that he is going to be the type of person people are gonna use jury nullification on. It was close to 3 p.m. when surveillance footage from the apartment complex showed Anna and Baron going into the apartment complex together and Ali entering the building's parking garage before going inside the complex. It was security footage from the neighbor's camera, which caught audio of him entering the apartment and a series of at least 6 gunshots that followed. His confession to his mother and his scream of Anna, Anna, Anna. The slain woman's friends described a history of violence that plagued the couple's relationship since as far back as 2015, when the couple lived in Japan before moving to Virginia, then to San Diego. KUSI reported that friends have described Ali as a deeply jealous and unfaithful person, allegedly starting an affair with another woman in the apartment building. I have found in my life that the people that are the most, "You're cheating on me, you're cheating on me," uh, they're the ones that are doing the cheating. It's it's something almost like projection, and as someone who hasn't cheated on, my spouses, but it's an allegation that seems to be thrown by the dirtiest of people in my experience, and I am not a relationshipologist. The defense argues that Ali's abuse of the big old nose clams, history of suffering childhood abuse himself, and his undiagnosed bipolar disorder were a perfect storm that culminated in the shooting at the apartment. No, no. Look, I get that he was probably out of his mind. He actually saw red, but we don't get to use the things that we're struggling. Like, look, y'all, I am a sugarholic. Like, give me a carb and I will be there 3 days from now. Okay. I'm working on being better, but I don't get to go do something to you and, say, well, because they didn't give me a Snickers, it's really their fault. Feel bad for me. I was low on sugar. We need to get away from this. I am so very compassion fatigued with these criminals who are like, I had a terrible life. I had a this and a that. So did millions of other people. So did hundreds of thousands of other people. But we still put our skirts on or our, leggings or pants on one leg at a time, get up and don't screw with other people's lives because we had a bad childhood. So spare me with this. He had a terrible, childhood and all of this stuff. You chose to go to the apartment knowing what you were likely going to see. You implanted spyware on your daughter's tablet. You enlisted your daughter's electronics in, you know, spying on your soon to be ex-wife. Just I can't. Well, I say my skirt because my skirt has kind of like very loose shorts under it because there will not ever be a reality, no matter how CERN, you know, splits up time, that I don't have chub rub. So that's why I buy the skirts I do. But so his defense basically said he was simply outside of his mind that day, and it was as though he was a passenger in the seat of his body. A psychologist called by the defense on Monday testified that Ali has since been diagnosed formally with bipolar 1 disorder and has a number of other unspecified personality disorders, including narcissistic features. Okay, well, I mean, they make a good skirt and I can, walk quickly ish. In other news, keep your eyes peeled if you are out walking because you might just find something useful and get your heart rate up and cardio. But I would at least not officially yet. Walker stumbles upon rare treasure buried during the Middle Ages in a once in a decade discovery. Well, there you go. A European woman recently stumbled upon buried treasure from the Middle Ages in what archaeologists are calling a once in a decade discovery. In a press release that was translated into English, the Institute of Archaeology of the Czech Academy of Sciences explained that the treasure was found by a woman walking in a town in the central Bohemian region of the Czech Republic. I do this to myself every time. I'm like, add some international news. It'll be good. And then you see, oh, I don't know, a name like this one that will not. I will never say it right. So I just say it was a town. Yes, Jeffrey, you're gonna have to wait till next decade to find your, buried treasure in the Czech Republic. The treasure consisted of over 2,150 silver coins minted between 1085 and 1107. Experts believe they were manufactured in Prague and imported to Bohemia. Quote, the discovery was made of a coin alloy, which, in addition to silver, also contains a mixture of copper, lead, and trace metals. The ARUP, the Czech Academy of Archaeological Sciences, explained in a May 16th press release, determining this particular composition can also help determine the origin of the silver used. Archaeologist Philippe Wilimski said that the treasure was hidden during a time of political instability. You know what? I mean, us hill chucks will bury things in the backyard if we don't believe stuff. I know I'm still that has to just I no. This is why I don't that's the trove was stored in a ceramic container that was destroyed over the years again. Hill chucks, we will hide, we will bury things in jars just like squirrels. We don't trust the government, but we do know possibly somewhat where we put those jars full of, grandpappy's money somewhere. So there you go. If you are happen to walk up, around the Czech Republic, you might be able to find some coins. At that time, there were disputes in the country between members of the dynasty about the princely throne of Prague, the historian explained. ARUP says that the battles were common during the period and believes that the depot may have been cash for paying wages or spoils of war. Volimsky added that the value of ancient coins is unimaginable during the time period. Unfortunately, for the turn of the 11th to 12th century, we lack data on purchasing power of contemporary coins. But it was a huge and unimaginable, at the same time unavailable amount for an ordinary person. It could be compared to winning a million in a jackpot. So there you go. Everyone, get your metal detectors. We are going out. We are finding the copper piping that's in our yard. Just kidding. Czech officials call the discovery one of the largest finds in the last decade. More than 2,000 silver coins represented a huge amount in their time. Hell, it represents at least the price of eggs here. Don't sell us short in here. We'll do inflation our own way. Historians are now trying to work out the process, uh, processing the coins, which puts them through x-rays, determining what the materials they're made of. And I hope that lady gets to pick up like 10 of those coins. Like, ma'am, look, you found these. You get 10, invaluable coins. The government takes the rest. Oh, really? That's good. Because, oh gosh, the chick that Greta Gerwig is making a C.S. Lewis adaptation. I can't imagine what she'll do to Narnia after what she did to Barbie. Yipes. Uh, those end of year school things don't always go off as planned because, petting zoos are fun. It's all fun and games until your alligator goes missing. Alligator in a petting zoo? Defund the Federal Department of Education. They have obviously gone too crazy with this. There is no wrong. Authorities in Missouri are still searching for a small alligator that escaped from a petting zoo exhibit set up at a Kansas City middle school. The KC Pet Project said the 14-inch alligator was last seen around 11 a.m. Thursday at Lakeview Middle School, where a third-party company had been hired to set up a petting zoo to celebrate the end of school. Nothing like Nothing like, "Hey, how'd you lose your hand?" Well, this one time at the end of school, I mean, good, okay. Officers, quote, "searched the school and surrounding grounds for the animal at the site of the school for several hours, but were unable to locate the animal." Um, have we tried the sewer? I mean, You're right. Some kid done took the alligator home, and this is how we get snakes in a plane and alligators in the sewers. Officials say they are concerned for the safety of the alligator as it was last seen with its mouth taped. Uh, it can fit in your hand, Tori Fugate, Chief Communications Officer for the KC Pet Project's Animal Service Department, told the Kansas City Star its mouth is taped shut, so our biggest concern is that it cannot fend for itself. Wait a minute. Okay, petting zoo kind of implies that these are animals that are very docile, maybe not meat eaters. And, you know, someone, yeah, it's someone, it's at home eating, Cheerios and watching Bluey. Oh, any type of event that showcases animals in Kansas City, Missouri must have the proper permits to ensure that the event is safe for all participants as well as the animals. Well, I mean, it doesn't seem like it was all that safe for anyone, even the alligator. In happier news, and this has to be like the coolest story I've seen, a boy who was born without a left hand is glowing after receiving an Iron Man bionic arm. Look at how cool that is. That is the coolest thing I have seen. And look how big he's smiling. He is so excited. I love good stories. A Long Island boy born without a left hand achieved superhero status this week. Jordan Matrola, 5, became the youngest ever recipient of a top of the line bionic arm, decked out as the youngster requested in Iron Man red and gold. He was just walking down the streets of Manhattan, throwing up his new hand in the air, screaming, "Taxi!" Jordan's mom, Ashley, said, "Oh, my that is audio coffee. Look, we gave you this bionic arm because you have to go find the alligator." Goodness. The excited mother of 3 made the trip with Jordan from their Dix Hills home on Wednesday to open Bionic Park Avenue's offices where the boy was fitted for his hero arm, or with his hero arm. The arms are typically reserved for older children. However, Jordan's physical development and emotional maturity made him a perfect candidate to set a new record, said Daniel Green, a certified prosthetist. Look, the people who make the prosthetics, they have an official name that I cannot pronunciate, and orthotic specialist at Open Bionics. Jordan's non invasive prosthetic was seamlessly molded to attach and detach from where his left arm ends, or what he and his family have called his nubby. Possibly not the best phrasing, but he's a kid. I'll allow it. Electrodes and sensors detect muscle contractions and respond with appropriate hand finger movements. It runs on a 14-hour rechargeable battery that takes about a month to be produced. Oh, yeah, I mean, this is awesome. Then the real effort begins. Time for Jordan to make the arm his own. It takes a bit of work, said Green. It's maybe something the average 5-year-old probably wouldn't be able to do, at least not as quickly as Jordan, anyway. Ashley found out her son would be born without his hands while 20 weeks pregnant, she said. Always a brave boy, Jordan has been able to enjoy a typically normal childhood so far. He even pitches in a Jim Abbott-esque style way on the local Little League team and is a karate standout. However, lately he's begun to interpret his condition more clearly. Recently, things have been a bit more emotional. Jordan started to really understand and know he's different, Ashley said. There are plenty of times where he would sit there and ask me, "Mommy, how come my hand is not growing?" Now that the conversation has taken a more exciting and positive turn, the excited Todd's first stop home from the medical office this week was to his school, where he proudly showed off to his classmates. Afterward came a trip to his grandparents' house, then a scooter joyride following a trip to Chuck E. Cheese. This really made him feel good. He's so confident, he was glowing. Oh, well, I'm so glad that he's getting this chance, and I'm glad that they're starting to look at things as an individual basis, and he does seem like, I mean, from the way his parents are saying, much more, mature because I still have a 12-year-old and a 13-year-old that I need to remind to brush their teeth daily, twice a day with toothpaste. So, you know, it is much better to do that. In other news, now this is a new study, and as we know, the news likes to make you afraid of everything, but there might be a possible link. And when we say possible, meaning probably one study not peer reviewed, link between tattoos and lymphoma. Now, you're going to have to show me this because I still have yet to get my first tattoo. Oh, yeah. I'm sure Marvel would do that because Marvel stop a family from getting Spider-Man, or was that Sony? Look, big companies, we don't like you right now. Try to be a little bit better so you look like not terrible. Let's see. A new study out of Sweden finds that people with tattoos have a 21% higher risk of developing lymphoma, a type of blood cancer. Quote, it's important to remember that lymphoma is a rare disease and that our results apply at a group level. Lund University researcher Crystal Nielsen, who led the study, said in a statement last week. The results now need to be verified and investigated further in other studies, and such research is ongoing. Well, there you go. For the study published in eClinical Medicine, 11,905 participants were directed to answer a questionnaire about lifestyle factors to determine if they were type or tattooed. The risk associated with tattoo exposure appears to be the highest for diffuse large B cell lymphoma, a fast growing curable cancer that starts in white blood cells, and follicular lymphoma, a slow moving incurable cancer. We already know that when tattoo ink is injected into the skin, the body interprets this as something foreign and should not be there. The immune system is then activated, Nielsen explained. A large part of the ink is transported away from the skin to the lymph nodes where it's deposited. Nielsen's team hypothesized that the size of the tattoo would affect the lymphoma risk, but they determined that was not the case. Interesting. Quote, one can only speculate that a tattoo, regardless of size, triggers a low grade inflammation in the body, which can in turn trigger cancer, Nielsen reasoned. The picture is thus more complex than we initially thought. Nielsen and her study underscores the importance of oversights in the chemical composition of tattoo ink. Also, maybe you shouldn't buy it at the flea market. I'm just throwing it out there, but our local Trader Baker's flea market does have all of your tattooing accoutrement. So oddly, I have not been tempted to buy all of it from there. The Food and Drugs Administration considers tattoo inks to be cosmetics and their pigments to be color additives. The FDA says it is traditionally not regulated the color additives in tattoo pigment ink, while local municipalities establish rules for body art businesses. Nielsen's team plans to look for this link between tattoos and other types of cancer as well as other inflammatory diseases. A study presented last year at the American Association for Cancer Research annual meeting found a potential association between having several large tattoos and the risk of blood cancer. The risk was particularly strong for people who were tattooed at a young age. Quote, people will likely want to continue to express their identity through tattoos. Therefore, it's very important that we as a society can make sure that's safe. Y'all, Okay, maybe, and maybe the government doesn't need to step all in, you know, medical body art. I mean, I remember when my grandma was told to smoke 5 a day to keep a doctor away with the life-saving health additive of nicotine. How about the government stay out of things? I mean, what, we spent, I don't know, 30 gajillion dollars to build 2, uh, vehicle charging ports that aren't even connected to the grid. I mean, I would sooner trust myself in the candy aisle than want the government involved in more regulations of stuff. But that's just me. Maybe they know better. I don't know. Oh, thank you so much, Fraud Wrangler. I will keep up and have a wonderful holiday, where we remember that we are here, we are able to I am able to pontificate ridiculousness because some people went out and fought, and some people don't have family members that come home, and because of that, I can sit here and be a dingus on the internet. Now, I will say that I don't know if you're talk to your doctor. Do not talk to the New York Post. Do not talk to me. Talk to your doctor if you're afraid of tattooisms. In our in another great story, the world's most arrested man. Now, I do not know if he got this title from Guinness World Records or not. But on May 24th, the world's most arrested man passed away. Henry Earle, whose criminal history includes more than 1,500 busts, passed away last week. He was 74. For the last several years of his life, Earle resided in a nursing home in Owenton, Kentucky, a city about 50 miles from Lexington, where he racked up the majority of his arrests. As reported in these pages, Earl was regularly collared for public order crimes fueled by, well, booze, and booked into the Fayette County Detention Center in Lexington. When the smoking gun stopped counting, Earl had spent a staggering 6,000 days in the county lockup for these offenses. According to jail records, Earl would usually spend several days behind bars before getting released back onto Lexington, where the 5'4", height local celebrity was affectionately known as James Brown. Earl was first busted in Fayette County in July 1970 for carrying a concealed weapon. He was 20 at the time. Over the decades that followed, Earl's rap sheet became so lengthy it threatened to deplete U.S.'s timber reserves. Oh, for the love of all that is holy. In the few years before he entered the nursing home in 2017, Earl spent longer stretches in custody when the leniency he had been afforded by scores of judges dried up, likely due to news reports about his unparalleled exploits. Earl's last arrest was April 2017 for public intoxication. Earl was laid to rest Thursday in Owenton Cemetery. There were no surviving family members identified. So sadly, a man who lost his fight with his addictions, but apparently he was very prolific at being drunk in public. So hopefully those last few years were a little bit better and he kind of came to some kind of understanding of what his life was about, because it is sad to see lives that are wasted because of these kind of things. In final news story, let's see here. Tornado season ramps up. So people are getting private shelters. It looks like as a tornado season ramps up, more people are turning to private home shelters to survive. Now, I don't know what that has to do with Jeremy Renner, but of course, why not put it on the news for some reason? When a powerful EF4 ripped through Greensfield, Iowa last week, TJ Oder, the chief of the town's volunteer fire department, said his house took a direct hit. Still, his family was saved by a private tornado shelter he had installed when he built his residence in 2014. Oder said that when the twister struck, he was helping to prepare a triage center to treat injured neighbors and get them to the hospital while his family members were hunkered down in his personal shelter. My grandmother, my girlfriend, her son, and all my animals were in it, and they all survived when it directly hit my house. Oder told ABC News at least 4 people were killed and 35 people were injured in the Greenfield twister, but throughout the area, many lives were saved due to people being close to a public shelter as the twister bore down or having one like Oder just steps away in their home. I mean, now, forgive me if I'm wrong, and I know Twister is not reality, but if you live in, Twister Row, a lot of houses already have like a basement, a cellar, things like that. So people might be investing in new things, but they also still had them. They just didn't call them, fancy dancy shelters. A lot of people I've talked to since this happened said they are going to rebuild and are thinking of putting one in. Craig Cece, a meteorologist in Mississippi, said he created the website findyourtornadoshelter.com, which maps out every public tornado shelter available in the nation. While he was a doctoral student at Mississippi State University, he said his dissertation was focused on the availability of public tornado shelters, how much they're used, and how they can be publicized. First, we need to be knowledgeable that they exist, which is basically where the map came from, CC told ABC News. It's something I feel is important for in a lot of areas because people live in mobile homes or they don't have basements or buildings are a lot weaker than people realize. CC said that his research found that most people didn't know the location of their local closest public tornado shelter when a twister hit and were forced to use an interior room or bathroom in their residence to ride out the storm. Over the past 4 decades, advances in radar technology and storm modeling have improved tornado warnings lead times dramatically, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. In the 1970s and 80s, the average tornado lead time to get to shelter following a tornado warning was about 3 minutes. Now, the average lead time for a tornado warning is 13 minutes. I mean, that is orders of magnitude that we have gained uh, in you know, what timing there is available. And I don't know if you're like an Uber nerd like me, but when Ryan Hall y'all tells me to, brace for impact, I'm there. Cece said some tornado prone areas in rural counties don't have public tornado shelter or are miles away from people's homes, making it too dangerous to attempt to get to during a rapidly approaching funnel cloud. Quote, you've got to make sure that you get there in advance. It's open because you don't want to be driving. When a tornado is coming your way, a car is extremely dangerous to be in, Cece said. You're better off in an interior room of the house as opposed to a car. Steve Sturm, a meteorologist who lives in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, in the heart of what's been dubbed Tornado Alley, says he had a private in ground tornado shelter installed in his garage about 5 years ago after his town applied and received FEMA block grants to help residents pay for them. I mean, if we could get some FEMA grants, if the government would spend money on, helpful stuff for individual people. Sturm said his prefab shelter, which seats 8 people, cost about 3,500 to 4,000, and that did not include insulation. He said he received about 2,500 from FEMA to defer costs. My family is just the three of us, my wife, my son, and then we have two 90-pound labs, so we can all fit in here, said Strum, who fitted his shelter with a battery operated light and a portable toilet and then stocks it with water, food, and other supplies to last more than a day. One problem with advanced warning is people become reliant on them. Absolutely. You know, after all of the time we were forced to stay at home, I have a bucket and I have, just some emergency food. But we do need to, each one of us has to be responsible for our own prepping. And you don't have to call it prepping, but sometimes it rains. Sometimes God decides to send a tornado up to Canada for some reason, because who knows? So, having supplies, having, just safety things, it's amazing the type of thing that you can prep in advance and not be crazy, not insane about it. But, having ponchos, having doubles of, sort of things that you need, bandages, things like that. There have been several times in the past year where because I bought a bulk amount of something that was on sale, now we have a bunch of ponchos for, when kids need to run to school and go on a field trip when it's raining. You won't be safe unless you have curlers in, Eris. But Strum said there are smaller shelters that cost as low as $2,000 and are available at some hardware stores. The biggest cost is usually installation. Installation costs can be higher than the actual shelter in some cases, Strum told ABC News. Strum said that while he and his family have had some close calls, they've yet to use their shelter in a tornado. But before installing the shelter, he said he and his family would put on bicycle helmets and get to an interior room of their house, cushioning themselves with pillows, pads, and blankets. We've got it for those events where you would have a storm in the middle of the night and you had to take shelter right away, Strom said. Having something that's easily accessible is kind of why we have it. So we can quickly open the door in a matter of seconds and be safe from the tornadoes that might hit at 3 a.m. in the morning while you're sleeping. So hopefully the government is working with FEMA to help people if they are rebuilding do this. This could be one of the times where actually grants and things like this I would be in approval for, because a lot of the time I don't like, you know, the government to spend money on ridiculousness stuff, but this could be something I would be totally okay with them, fortifying. It is true. It is hard to do anything. What in why in the world? And other, why should we ever fly ever? I mean, I'm sorry, Boeing and all of the air people, but y'all are making driving great again. The road trip sponsored by Boeing. Don't come after me. I don't know anything about your practices, and I'm not a whistleblower. I'm just someone who tells jokes. Passengers feared it was quote unquote the end as Qatar Air flights hit extreme turbulence. I'm still shivering. No, this is why we don't, again, Boeing and Airbus bring you the car trip. Terrified passengers on Qatar Airways' Boeing jet hit by severe turbulence on Sunday recalled seeing unbuckled travelers literally flying around the cabin, with some convinced they were about to die. Quote, the flight was scary, to be honest, I'm still shivering, Mufassal Ali said after safely landing in Dublin. That was the worst 15 seconds of my life. Well, sir, 15 seconds is a goal. Try 35 next time. Yeah. Look, have we okay. But Jeffrey, have you ever had like a report and the teacher said it had to be 600 words long and you were out of words at about 100 or about 450? So then you start writing in the most circuitous and wordy way ever just to get to that 600 level when it could have been, it could have been a sentence. I saw a few people, they were literally flying in the plane, he said, of the turbulence which tossed them from their seats. Cheryl Zucker recalled how the Boeing 787 Dreamliner just dropped mid-flight. Unfortunately, there was a couple passengers who didn't have seatbelts on, so they were thrown out of their seat and hit their heads. One unnamed passenger told RTE that she thought the terrifying moment was the end of her life. Philomena Pendergast shared similar fears as she said she was, quote, very thankful to be down from the flight. It was so scary at the time. You just don't know, is this it or not? She said. I'd need a new pair of pants. True. Again, look, they had to get to 30 words. They were like, "How are we gonna spend this longer?" Some of the flight attendants had scratches to their face, ice in their face. One girl had a sling on her arm, uh, Powers said of the people injured. Another passenger, Cathal, showed RTE how his shorts had been ripped during the accident. Look, look, sir, we all appreciate that you would need, uh new pants after this flight? Good lord, I would need new pants after this flight. Uh, it was atrocious. Never again, he shook his head, adding that his dinner tray was tossed off his laps by the bumps. Uninjured passengers were still visibly upset hours after the turbulence. It was so scary. I'm not in a hurry to get back on a plane, I can tell you, a woman named Aline tearfully told RTE. Eileen's partner, Tony, said he'd told the grandmother or had to hold the grandmother down as she was sleeping and was not wearing her seatbelt when the turbulence started. Passenger Paul Mock recalled watching people smacking the roof of the plane and commended the scratched up flight attendants for continuing cabin service for the remainder of the flight. Look, we're all gonna need the complimentary baby bottles of booze here. Just The terrifying turbulence came just 1 week after a 37-year-old British man died and 30 others were injured when a Singapore Airlines flight dropped 6,000 feet and sent passengers careening into overhead bins. Y'all, I'm just saying, Boeing, you are making the car trip, the road trip across America look great again. Any hoozle, I do not have anywhere to send you guys to. You are free to go. I may have a later stream just doing some more of the Scott Peterson, 337 page thing. I do have at least part 2 up, so I'm working on part 3. It works a little better if you're still recording, which I wasn't. And then I was like, son of a biscuit, and my voice is shot. So I will be working on part 3. And as always, if there are interesting stories that come throughout the day, I'll do short little things about that. And then I'll see you here tonight, as you're recovering from barbecue ribs and, well, just the meat sweats. I'll be here. Have a wonderful day and be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and I will see you for nightly newsy news, guys. Bye.